Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're going to put together a little odds and ends video for you. I got a couple things here, a bunch of things here that have been sent in and what have you to share, etc. Ginger wants to make an appearance, let you know that he's still around and in charge around here. Anyway, to start things off, first things first. As I usually say, or always have said, if I'm going to be traveling somewhere and attending an event or anything like that, let people know where I'm going to be, especially if it's a public event or whatever. We've got an upcoming event, letting folks know about. It's time once again for the ArnFest event. This is something that I've been going to for many, many years. It's an annual event held each year, usually toward the end of September, at the Illinois Railway Museum up in Illinois, kind of between Chicago and Rockford area. Union, Illinois is where the museum is located at. That event is scheduled again for this year on September 25th through 28th. This is 2025 for those that are watching these videos at some time in the future. But I will plan on being there. I will be arriving on the 25th. I'll be there basically coming in sometime on Thursday afternoon, be there on Friday, be there on Saturday, and I'll be leaving out on Sunday, headed back south. But I always like to let folks know we're going to be there. This is an event, it's open to the public. However, you do need to register for it, pre-register for it, preferably if you're planning on coming. A little bit about the event. Again, it's held at the Illinois Railway Museum, which is a neat venue to go to even all in itself. If you come to the ArnFest event, you have access to the museum grounds there and you can wander around on any of the days there, but they usually have most things going on at the museum actually on Saturday. On Thursday is kind of very informal. People are just starting to get in. People putting together the event are showing up. People are welcome to show up that afternoon, but not a whole lot officially going on. On Friday, they have different classes and seminars that go on throughout the day. You have time to wander around, do stuff, visit with people, etc. Saturday is kind of the big day. That's the morning. That morning we have the swap meet out in the parking lot that usually starts first thing in the morning, goes through, mid-morning or something like that. It's not really an all-day swap meet. It usually just lasts a couple hours in the morning, although some people will stay set up through early afternoon with stuff out there, but most people will be available first thing that morning for several hours. Lots of good stuff there. If you've got things you want to sell, you can bring it up there and sell it at the swap meet. If you're just looking for a good buy on something, of course, you can come look there as well. But that'll be on the Saturday morning. And then again, we have different activities going on throughout the day. If you go to the website for ArnFest, ArnFest.com, that's ARNFEST, is how that's spelled. Go to ArnFest.com and there is a schedule. It may not be completely filled out right now, but as we get closer, they'll be putting up more and more information. On Saturday evening, there is a banquet that we usually have. There's a silent auction and live auction usually at the banquet. It's usually a good time. That's held at the Holiday Inn in Crystal Lake, Illinois, which is where a lot of people choose to stay for the entire event. So anyway, if you are interested in coming to this, I highly recommend that you go ahead and get registered for it. There is early registration that I think you can do through September 1st. After that, the prices do go up a little bit. You can do on-site registration. However, if you're planning on coming, just go ahead and get registered. It really helps the people putting everything together, get a good head count and really know how many people to expect, etc. So hoping to see many of you at ArnFest this year. So with that, guys, let's get in here. I got some stuff that has been sent in. I've got some items. I actually was up at a Field of Tools event up in upstate New York a couple of weeks ago. I picked up a few items. I didn't get a whole lot. I was really doing more selling than buying at that one. I brought some stuff that I was selling at the swap meet there. And then also, I did pick up a few items there though. We'll go do those. Got some viewer mail and some other things that have been sent in, etc. So let's go over here and take a look at this. And Ginger, we need our table now. You're gonna have to go somewhere else. So up first here, a couple of items. These are actually some items that I picked up at the Barzy Summer Bash back in June. And I didn't have room to bring these with me, and the person that I got these from was kind enough to put them in a box and ship them to me. These were actually, he gave me, these are purchases. I bought these, but he gave me a good deal on them. Something that I don't know that I'll ever need, but again, sometimes when you see stuff like this, you just go ahead and get it just because, particularly if it's a good deal on it, because you just don't ever know when you might need it. So first off, this is a reamer. 2 and 15/16. This reamer is made by Pratt and Whitney. Yes, it has a little surface rust on it, but it's actually in pretty good shape. It's sharp. Probably let it soak in a bucket of evapor rust or something and cleaned up before I put it up. But anyway, nice little reamer here. It's got engraved on the side USN. Looks like it's either C5 or CS. I can't tell which one, but that's just kind of scratched into it there. And then the other one here is a big tap. This is a 3-inch diameter, 8 threads per inch tap. Again, just you never know when you kind of need this kind of stuff. So, and this came from Michael McFarland, was who I got these from. And anyway, he was kind enough again to ship them down to me. So anyway, we'll find hopefully I got room in my cabinet for these big old pieces, but we'll put them up with my other pieces. So this is a real interesting item that was sent in by Jim Miller up in Ohio. And what this is a right angle head that fits onto a Bridgeport milling machine. So this is actually made by Bridgeport, fits onto a Bridgeport mill. It basically has an R8 collet built up into the head of this thing. You slide this up on the spindle, tighten up the your drawbar, and then you clamp this down on the actual quill of the machine, and there's some gearing down here that turns your head 90 degrees, and then you can take these 30 taper cutters, put in there. You put a drawbar in the back there to tighten these up, and now you've got a right angle attachment that you can use on your milling machine for doing right angle work. Nice little accessory that you can put on a vertical mill and do kind of some horizontal type work with it. As far as doing end mills and drilling and stuff at right angles, again, a very nice, neat little adapter there that you can put in to be able to use it that way. And very nice, he included a nice assortment of the various 30 taper end mill holders and face mill holders and all kinds of different things there as well. Unfortunately, my milling machine that I have, my vertical mill, is made by Wells Index. It's not a Bridgeport brand, so this won't fit on what I have in my shop. But anyway, I know that people out there in Bridgeport world, which is probably the majority of the people who have a vertical mill, would love to have an attachment like this. One thing I noticed on it that I really like is that it has this machine surface on the sides. And that's for setting it up. So when you put it in there, you can, because this can basically turn on the head, even if you wanted to do something that wasn't at 90, it'd be at 90 degrees in this axis, but if you wanted to get it parallel to the table, you could put an indicator on there, sweep it, and get this thing lined up right in line with the table in either direction. If you wanted to put it at an angle, I don't know why you'd want to put it at an angle. I guess you could, but be hard to feed into it because of the table's only going to move in one axis or the other. Anyway, very nice setup. Probably will have this in my pile of stuff that I'll be either selling or doing some horse trading with because, again, it just doesn't fit anything that I have, but pretty neat little setup. If you've never seen one of these before, this is a pretty sought after attachment for the Bridgeport people out there. Next year, I got an item that was sent in. I don't have a name on it. It just came in a box. It came from Watson, Louisiana. That's about all I can tell you about it. They may have sent me an email or a message, but I just don't remember it. And I don't have any other clues to figure out who sent it from. But basically what we got here is some boxes with some new old stock milling machine. These are slitting saws that you can use on the horizontal milling machine. These are 5-inch diameter, 3/16 inch thick, and with a 1-inch hole in them. And basically, let's open one up here. It's just a slitting saw cutter that you can put on a horizontal milling machine for work. So anyway, I will put these in my cabinet with my other horizontal milling cutters. And this is, this horizontal milling tooling used to be very available, very common. Now it's getting hard to find if you want to buy new stuff. It's getting hard to find. So I use my horizontal milling machine for jobs from time to time. So it's nice to kind of have some of this stuff laying around and be able to use it on jobs when the need comes up. So anyway, thank you very much to whoever sent that in. All right, up here we got a nice selection of some stuff that was sent in by Mike Nix. And Mike had contacted me a while back, told me he had a bunch of socket head cap screws, new old stock, still in the boxes, that he had bought at a surplus type store. He said he bought these things like 40 years ago. They were sold them by the pound. He said he bought every one of them that they had. And I was looking at some of these, and there's some date codes on some of these, or there's some codes on them. I don't see it right now, but I saw one earlier that kind of implied 1950s, 1960s age on them. That's just me guessing. The code was not super clear, but I was thinking that might have been a date code. But anyway, good, high quality, American made hardware, and yeah, just good stuff. I think I've showed before, my cabinet with all my socket head cap screws and stuff that I've got sorted out in bins. I'm going to go basically just mix this stuff right in there with them. Some of these I got multiple boxes. I'll probably just set some of the boxes in the back of the drawers and only put one of them in a bin. But I'm going to put these out, so I'll have them when I need them, and I use this stuff all the time. Also, he sent along this scraper. This is made by Anderson Brothers. This is you see this style scraper fairly commonly. There's a kind of a wedge. I'd have to beat on it a little bit, but this thing here, basically there's a piece that wedges and your blade gets kind of sandwiched in between this. And you can take these out and sharpen them. This blade is high-speed steel. A lot of the scrapers that we use today have carbide blades on them. There's nothing wrong with the high-speed steel cutters. The carbide ones just don't dull as fast, but very usable scraper. I will put this in my collection with my other scraping tools. That one has seen a lot of scraping work done over the years on it. It doesn't have the right grind on there for scraping. It should be more of a blunt cutter. Someone has just ground a sharp on there. It could be used for scraping paint, I guess, like that. But anyway, no big deal. We can straighten all that out. Anyway, Mike, thank you very much for sending this stuff in. So up next comes a nice little wooden box from Jim McCavish. And this is kind of a cool item. So if you open it up, inside you have what we call a steam engine indicator. Now, these were fairly common little tools back in the day of steam that were used to kind of set up and tune a steam engine to get it running just right. And there were a bunch of different flavors of these made by some different companies. They all kind of did the same thing, but basically you would take this out and you would plumb it into the steam on the engine. There's some different fittings in here to do different kinds of setups. You'd put a piece of paper on the cylinder back here, and depending on the steam pressure, there were some springs. You could change springs out in there depending on the pressure. There's some springs that came in this set. But basically what would happen is there'd be a little pin in this stylus, and as the pressure went in there, it would move up and down. And as the steam engine kind of went through its cycle, you would attach a cord over to the the valve that was moving back and forth, and it would cause this drum up here to rotate, and the pressure would go up and down. That stylus would go in there, and it would basically create a written graph showing the steam going in at the various stages through both of the cycles of the valve. And using that graph, you could fine tune things to kind of get it running better, etc. This would have been used by an engineer that was basically, like I said, setting up or fine tuning the valves on a steam engine, or just checking it out in general. It was not something that was used commonly every single day, but you know, for those times you needed it, you needed one. They are a neat little item. I think I've actually got another one of these. It's a different, made by a different company that a viewer sent me several years ago. I have got several books in my library that talk about using these for different companies and whatever. I don't know if I've got one for this particular one. This one here is the Twill Indicator Company, TWILL, and that is what, Cora, Pennsylvania, I think is what that says. So anyway, a neat little item to tune a steam engine. Pretty cool. Jim, thanks for sending this in. I have, like I said, I've threatened to set one of these up before. One of these days I'm going to get one set up and actually run it on one of our steam engines at the museum, just to kind of, I've always wanted to play with one. I've just never done it. So I need to see if I got everything in here to make one run. And one of these days we're going to go do that. We'll do a video on it whenever we do. So anyway, steam engine indicator. A while back in one of my videos, I was showing my new Brown & Sharp number 13 universal grinder that I picked up a while back, and I actually was needing a cup wheel for it and ordered a new cup wheel. These are some grinding stones that will fit on to that number 13 grinder that were sent to me by Scott Wilkinson up in Indiana. And Scott had these laying around his shop, didn't have a need for them, and they all are the size that will work on my machine. So he was kind enough to pack these up and send them to me, and they will be used, I am quite sure. They're used, but they're good wheels. They're all solid. I don't hear any cracks in them. I checked them all a while ago. You can kind of ring a wheel. Let me show you that. And kind of just, I don't know if you can hear that. It's kind of a little bit of a ring to it. If a wheel's got a crack in it, it'll go thunk, thunk, thunk. And it's not like a ringing like a bell, but you can hear a ring in it. So that's something you can, a little quick test you can do with these wheels to make sure when you spin them up, they don't disintegrate into a million pieces. But anyway, these will be nice to use over on the universal grinder. And Scott, thank you very much for sending those along. I will definitely put them to use. This is kind of an interesting item. Back, it's been a couple of months ago now, there was a gentleman, I don't remember how, somebody had, I think, connected me with him, but he had a Fay & Scott pattern maker's lathe that was in pretty, let's just say, decrepit condition. And he'd been trying to find someone to buy it. Nobody wanted to touch it because it had so many issues. And he eventually decided he was going to scrap the lathe. I've got a Fay & Scott pattern maker's lathe. Mine was a little bit different model than his. But whenever I got mine, it did not have a cross slide like this on here. And you guys probably, if you watch my channel regularly, I recently used that machine in making a wooden pattern. But whenever I got mine, I needed this cross slide attachment, so I made one. I actually found someone that had the same model lathe as mine, that had the cross slide on it. He was kind enough to take some very good drawings and send them to me. In fact, he must have had a background in mechanical drafting or something, because he sent me very, very good mechanical drawings of every single part on one. From that, I made patterns. This was back before I had access to 3D printers and stuff like that. So I actually made wooden patterns, sent everything off to a foundry, got them back in, machined the parts, and basically made a cross slide as close to the original that I could possibly find. Well, whenever he had his machine and he was going to scrap it, I said, hey, if you don't mind, I would like to get the cross slide off of it so that maybe I could put an original back on mine. Not that there's anything wrong with the one I made. And he was kind enough to do it. I will note that this cross slide is a little bit different than the one I've got on mine. Different design. This one here actually is mounted onto a plate that goes in and out. So this is just the compound. You get the cross slide moves in and out up underneath it. Mine, the cross slide is really long, and it basically has a post that this thing drops down into rather than on a rotating piece like this. So this isn't one I can just go plop down and drop right onto my machine, but it is kind of nice to save a little piece of history here. And I really kind of wanted it to kind of compare mine to the original as much as anything. He also sent along the tool post, which is kind of funny because I never had the right tool post for mine, and I recently needed one and salvaged one off of another machine, and we were able to mount it on mine back there and use it. But anyway, this was just something I wanted to save more than anything else. And honestly, I was hoping that I could get it where I could put it on my machine, but now that it's in the shop, I could adapt it to make it work, but it's not just going to drop into place. Let's go out there and kind of compare the two just out of curiosity so you can kind of see the difference between them. So again, this is the one that we just picked up. This is the one that I made. And yeah, there's some absolute differences between them. You can just look at them and tell, but they are similar in design and etc. I don't know if it might have been different ages or whatever. This is made pretty much to the blueprints that the guy sent me and the pictures that he sent me. So I don't feel like that, this is just the difference in interpretation between the two. They were made differently. But like I said, this one here drops down into a post. This is a different tool holder, but it just has a post like that on the bottom that just drops down in there. This is one for putting just a regular piece on for doing wood turning, the tool rest, that you could just swap them in and out. I also made this one, although I did have an original that I was able to use as a pattern for it, but I did make this is a reproduction one that I made for it and machined to fit on this machine. But anyway, interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's like I said, it won't work like it is. I could probably adapt it to work, but there's nothing wrong with this one up here. So we'll probably just keep it. Although I might put this handle over here just because it'd be a little bit more like the original. I don't know. Anyway, I've got it. I thank the gentleman that sent that to me. If nothing else, we'll find a home for it someplace else where someone else can utilize it and save it and use it on their machine. So a while back, we got an email through the website from a lady down in South Georgia who had found this going through some of her papers and stuff. She said that I think it was her father or grandfather had requested this information. Note that it was a postmark in 1916 from the J.S. Schofield & Sons factory in Macon, Georgia. Schofield's was a ironworks. They had a foundry. They made steam engines. They made boilers. They sold mill supplies, etc. There was a competing firm in town called Taylor Ironworks that at some point in time, the two companies actually merged and became one. Anyway, this is a little sales flyer that they sent out. So there's a little postcard or a return envelope to order stuff through if you decide you want to order something, and then they've got the actual little catalog here that has their line in there. Boilers, boiler fronts. I actually saw, I think it's at Willingham Sash and Door in Macon, Georgia. I took a tour of there many years ago, and it seems like I remember they had some of these on some old boilers there that said Schofield's, or they may have said Taylor, I don't remember which, but anyway, there's grates. And you got steam engines that they sold, so forth and so forth. At least down in the southeast where I'm at, it's not uncommon to find old steam engines that were made by Schofield's. They were a pretty major player. I don't know outside of the region how many they sold, around the world, but at least in the south, they were a fairly big manufacturer and had a pretty wide spread. So anyway, we'll get that scanned and up on the website. And I really appreciate getting that sent in to us. And talking about paperwork, literature stuff, will be scanned to go up on the website over at VintageMachinery.org. As you guys know or probably know, we scan a lot of these old catalogs, manuals, and stuff from all kinds of various machinery stuff and put them up on the site where people can have as a resource when they're working with any kind of old machinery. Had a company out in California. Who was this? This was the Great Western Grinding Incorporated in Huntington Beach, California. I guess they were cleaning out their file cabinets, and they had a bunch of old stuff, and they were kind enough to send it in. So we will put this into the queue to be scanned and get it done. So I know you guys see documents like this coming in all the time. I share them on odds and ends, and we get a lot of people that send stuff in. And here in the last couple of years, I've actually gotten several really large collections of literature from some machinery dealers and other companies that were cleaning out, going out of business, whatever. And I've literally have gotten probably 3 or 4 pallet loads of literature that we've been slowly working through. And I just kind of wanted to give a little update on that because we are still actively going through it. Right now, I've probably been through the equivalent of about 2 pallet loads of literature. My process basically is first to look and see if it's already been scanned as up on the website, if it's in the scope of what we host on the website, and then if I find something that does need to be scanned, I put it in a pile, and there's a lot of it that does be scanned. A lot of what we've got is either already on the site or is irrelevant to the site. Maybe not irrelevant in general, but it's not within the scope of what we cover on the website, so it gets set aside. I don't throw it away, anyway, the stuff that needs to be scanned. This past summer, I had a high school student that came in, and she was probably working anywhere between 20 and 30 hours a week just scanning for me. And she did a great job, went through a bunch of literature, got it all scanned. It is now sitting on my computer, and now I've got to get it uploaded and put on the website. A lot of it I've already got uploaded and put on the website. I've been working at that fairly hard the last couple of months, but I've probably right now got over 1,000 documents that are scanned and ready to be uploaded, and that alone takes a lot of time, and I've been doing that as well. We've still got probably a pallet load of literature that is in the queue to be scanned. Don't know how long it'll take to get there. Right now, I don't know when I'll be able to get another person in here. And really right now, I need to catch up from the work that was done this past summer. Probably next summer, try to find another student to come in and kind of help out with that. And because it'll probably take me the better part of a year to get everything that was scanned this summer actually uploaded and on the site and available to folks, because it just takes a lot of time, as does these videos and everything else that we do around here. But some of the proceeds that we've made from the YouTube channel and from donations to the website and stuff is what I used to pay the young lady that came in to help out. So, not only does it just go to me personally, a lot of it gets reinvested back in the site where people can utilize it for stuff, such as the website. We're actively talking about the website. We're actively kind of starting to look pretty hard at rebuilding the website from a code standpoint. Or the website the current version of the software was all custom built for our site. It's been up and running now for, 15 years or more. It's starting to get kind of dated. Still works, but in modern technology, there's a lot of things that we can do. We're actually starting to look pretty hard at maybe trying to put together a team of volunteers that can come in and help us rebuild the website. So I just kind of mentioned that as well. That's something that we're probably going to be looking at in the future. And while I'm hoping that I can get some volunteers that were willing to kind of donate their time into that project, I'm sure there's going to be some expense and costs with doing that as well. There always is. But anyway, we'll get this in the queue to get scanned. Let's show you. I've got some more stuff over here that I think the rest of this was stuff that I picked up at Field of Tools. And related to that, so let's go through some of those items that we picked up there. So a couple of items here that was bought at the Field of Tools event. First here was just a set of blacksmithing tongs, nothing fancy. These are made by Atha. I've got a thing for Atha tools. I've got a bunch of Atha blacksmithing tools that I've bought over the years, and I didn't think that I had a set of tongs like that. I won't know until I get out there and look. But anyway, I saw these. They were in good shape, and they were a decent price, so I just went ahead and bought them and brought them home. This item here, this is kind of cool. This was made by Do-All, the same people that make my big scroll cutting bandsaw that I use for metalworking. And basically, when you're cutting something on a bandsaw, sometimes you just need something to kind of press against it. And a lot of times I use a block of wood. This is something to get your hands out of the way of the blade, but be able to kind of control it and steer it and push it through there. It's got these little notches in here for doing it. A lot of times you find these and they've been cut in half because over the years people will get through the cut and a little bit of the time it just nibbles out. And this one has done a little bit down there, but not too bad. All in all, this one's not in bad shape. And yeah, $10. I couldn't pass that up because I'm constantly using that saw back there, and this will be handy. This item here, a little teeny tiny cast iron surface plate. Now, from a practical standpoint, I have no idea why I need that, but it was cute. And for $10, yeah, it came home with me. I will probably re-scrape that in just because. Why not? I can. And have a nice little tiny surface plate. I'll probably also get all the rust off of it. Don't see a maker on it. It does have a tag on here with a number, 239-13. Don't know what that means. But anyway, kind of cute. And then this item here, I actually bought this from my buddy Clark Easterling over at Windy Hill Foundry. This is a rammer for ramming up molds. If you watch Clark's videos, he has a wooden one of these that he uses a lot of times. He also has a floor rammer. I call this a floor rammer. This a little similar to this. And I think this was originally a floor rammer, and someone replaced the handle and put a shorter handle in here where it could be used on a bench. But typically this style would have had a longer handle in it, so if you were molding in the floor, you could tamp your stuff, tamp around your pattern in the sand. Again, I saw that, thought of my buddy Clark, and I'm going to just give that to him because he helps me out a bunch, and I think he'll enjoy it. So one other thing I just found, I forgot, this was also came from Field of Tools, but it was actually a viewer gift, and I can't remember the guy's name. I know who he is, and I got his card somewhere, but I couldn't find it just now. I think it's up in my office or anyway. But anyway, gentleman brought this by. This is a 3-inch end mill, and it is scary sharp. Man, that thing is razor sharp. But a big 3-inch Weldon end mill. And yes, that is a big end mill, but between my horizontal milling machine, my horizontal boring mill, we can use it. It'll come in handy for something down the road, I am quite sure. So I will add this to my collection. I'm gonna find something to put that in to keep it protected, and I'll put it over in my cabinet with tooling and stuff in there. I can't imagine what it would cost to buy a brand spanking new 3-inch end mill. But anyway, I've got one if I ever need it. This may be the biggest end mill that I've got. I know I've got some like 2.5s, but I think a 3-inch is bigger than anything else I've got. So anyway, kind of cool. So another person I met at Field of Tools was this Brian Cromer, who actually wrote this book, The History of the Blacksmith in Photographs, a scrapbook from 1850 to 1930. This is a collection of photographs that he put together of old blacksmith shops going way back. And it is a really interesting book. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but it is an interesting book, and I have enjoyed looking through it because there is some really cool stuff in here. If you like blacksmithing or any kind of old metalworking, there's some really neat things. So anyway, if you're interested in this book, you can order it off of Amazon. This was one that he gave me to kind of share with you guys and also to enjoy myself. And Brian, thank you very much. If you're interested, go check it out on Amazon. And with that, once again, I've got a clean bench, and my table over here where I pile stuff up is getting a little bit cleaner, although I need to get that sorted through and declutterified as well. But with that, that's pretty much a wrap on this episode of Odds and Ends. Guys, hoping to see some of you at ArnFest coming up here at the end of September. Please, if you're interested in that, go check it out at ArnFest.com. Get registered and come on up. I'd love to see you there. Love to shake your hand. Love to get to meet folks. I always look forward to that when I'm out on the road traveling. And with that, we're going to sign off. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are greatly appreciated. They really help out with the algorithms on YouTube. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, and through YouTube memberships, all of which are great ways to help support my channel as well as any other YouTube channel out there where someone's going to the trouble to create content for you. If you get value out of it, consider helping these guys out, myself included. Shameless plug. And with that, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll catch you on the next video. Again, as always, thanks for watching.